Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the RAH-66 Comanche. This is a currently 11.3 BR Rank 6 premium attack helicopter in the American helicopter tech tree. The Comanche comes in a pack that currently costs $49.99 USD when not on sale, and comes with both 15 days of premium time and 2,000 golden eagles. With that said, in this video, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about this helicopter, including its stats, how it plays, give it some strengths and weaknesses. I'll go over how I feel about it, and then I'll give my final recommendation on if I feel this premium helicopter is worth purchasing or not. With that said, if you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing to my channel, but without further ado, let's get into the review. Now to start, I'll place the stat card here on the side of the screen. Important things to note are its armament, its speed, and its lack of countermeasures. Now for how it plays. In short, the RAH-66 Comanche is a small, fast, and surprisingly decently armed recon-attack stealth helicopter. In short, the stealth capability of this helicopter makes it more difficult for enemy radar and IR guided missiles to both target and hit it, as the stealth works against both types of tracking. It doesn't make the Comanche immune to those things, however, as it will still be shot down if you're too close, if you're not careful, or if the enemy missile system is advanced enough. Further, weapon systems that rely on visual tracking, guns, and or a laser rangefinder may also find it easier to take out the Comanche. These things aside, it is still decently stealthy, in large part thanks to its sleek profile and internal weapons bays, of which can hold up to 6 AGM-114B Hellfires, 24 Hydras, 12 ATAS missiles, or a mix therein. It can also carry these weapons on external pylons to increase your loadout, but this will also increase your radar signature and make the Comanche less stealthy and thus more vulnerable to attack. Because of these things, as well as its total lack of countermeasures, I would recommend to stay at least 4 kilometers out from enemy forces, though being further out would help you even more. Then, using your speed, find a good spot on the side of the map and go to town against the enemy. Personally, I prefer just to take 6 Hellfires, as those fit within the internal weapons bays, and those improve my stealth capabilities, but of course, that is up to you. Ultimately though, that's it. Though you could say the same with pretty much every other helicopter. The only difference here is that the Comanche trades countermeasures and a little bit of weapons capability for good looks, maneuverability, and somewhat useful, though definitely not perfect, stealth. Now with that said, let's get into its strengths and weaknesses, and first for its strengths. This helicopter is stealthy. While it can be picked up by radar, the stealth design and coding of this vehicle help to make it so that SPAA will not pick it up until it's closer than other helicopters, if they pick it up at all. This goes much more so when in down tiers, as those SPAA are typically using lesser radar and weapons. It's not even just radar either, as the Comanche has a lower heat signature as well. Second, while its top speed is listed at 300 kilometers per hour, which is the same as the Apache, the absolute max speed before this vehicle starts breaking up because of the speed is around 50 kilometers higher on the Comanche than the Apache. I got around 500 kilometers per hour of speed on the Comanche compared to 450 on the Apache. For its third strength, maneuverability and overall aircraft control are exceptional, largely owing to a rotor that tilts in the direction that you want to move. It seems like the Comanche does this to a greater extent than other helicopters with this same feature. For its fourth strength, it can carry plenty of AGM-114B missiles, being able to carry up to 14 in total for a full loadout, or up to 6 if just using your internal weapons bays. For its fifth strength, it has a 20mm cannon with an insanely high 1500 round per minute fire rate. It also has up to 40mm of armor pen, which is pretty good for a helicopter cannon, though is certainly not the best in game. For its sixth strength, it has excellent gunner sights with Gen 2 thermals and up to 63.5 times zoom. Beyond this, it features radar, which is very uncommon for helicopters. For its eighth strength, it has a radar warning receiver. Ninth, it can carry up to 16 ATAS anti-air missiles. And finally, it features premium RP and SL bonuses. Now for its weaknesses. First, it has no countermeasures at all. If you're locked onto it, the Comanche stands a decent chance of dying, though its reduced IR signature may prove difficult for some missiles to track all the way to the Comanche itself. For its second weakness, while not technically a weakness as it stems from its biggest strength, having open weapons bays decrease stealth. This is much more so an issue if you go for a full loadout with more missiles on exterior pylons. For its third weakness, while not bad, the Hellfires carried by the Comanche are the B variant. These will get the job done, though similar BR helicopters have the K variant, which are tandem charged and have superior tracking, especially if the target track is lost for a period of time. And finally, the Comanche has a very fragile airframe. Almost any damage will knock it out of the sky. Now with that said, let's get into how I feel about this vehicle. Typically, I would rate the vehicles through a scoring system at this point, but helicopters are a bit different in that they are more niche and their gameplay is more limited. With that said, I will still do a mini score for the Comanche by giving it a 7.25 out of 10 for anti-ground, a 7.5 out of 10 for anti-air, and a 7.25 out of 10 overall. In short, the RAH-66 Comanche is excellent. While none of its weapons are all that great, they are still very capable, and when combined with the stealth capabilities of this vehicle, as well as its maneuverability and technology, it ends up being a beast. For anti-ground, it can carry up to 14 AGM-112B Hellfires. While other helicopters can carry more of them, such as the premium AH-64A Grease with 16, the Comanche has the added bonus of stealth, which actually helps tremendously. After all, what's the point of carrying more if you can't even use them without being shot down? Even if you only carry weapons in the internal bays for maximum stealth, I find these to be more effective than having more than 2 times as many Hellfire Bs in a non-stealth helicopter. In much the same way, while the Apache can also carry AGR-20A and B laser-guided rockets, these are largely ineffective and don't get used often, if at all anyways, making their presence as an option on the premium Apache largely a non-starter. Going back purely to the Comanche, while it isn't especially amazing or versatile in terms of weaponry, its stealth ends up being the key for its anti-ground capabilities. For anti-air, the Comanche is slightly better than it is versus ground, which is somewhat surprising, at least to me. For one, it can carry up to 16 ATAS air-to-air missiles, which is an absurdly high amount, and is one of the most, if not the most, air-to-air missiles able to be carried in-game by a helicopter, maybe even just in general by any aircraft, correct me if I'm wrong. While the ATAS are just okay, as they have only a 13G maximum overload, a Mach 2 speed, and 5km launch range, they still have IRCCM, which actually helps quite a bit. The main thing though is that you can carry up to 16 of them, with 2 being able to fit on each pylon both internally and externally. Mix in its radar, which is rare for helicopters and is essentially non-existent for all but the highest BR helicopters in each tech tree, if that, and you have a surprisingly capable anti-air helicopter. While something like the Z-19E is better for anti-air, as its air-to-air missiles are pretty much better in every way, it still lacks radar and has the ability to not only carry fewer missiles, but also has to carry them in huge blocks of 4 at a time, whereas the Comanche is much more customizable, being able to put 2 again on any given pylon. Basically, while nothing weapon-wise stands out on the Comanche, its stealth helps it tremendously, as well as its technology to better see the enemy, such as its radar and advanced thermals. Even when going full stealth, being limited to just 6 Hellfires at most, being that that's all that can fit in the internal weapons bays, the Comanche still has a decent opportunity to score on up to all 6 of them, whereas other helicopters with more anti-ground ordnance but no stealth will oftentimes not be able to use more than 1 or 2 at max before being either shot down or being forced to land. Still, the Comanche lacks countermeasures, but the radar and IR stealth helps enough where SPAA, especially those at a lower BR, will oftentimes not be able to properly lock you until you're close enough or won't be able to see you at all. I'd give a higher score to both ground and overall if its stealth was a bit more effective, but it's still totally useful and excellent the way that it is. If its stealth were much more effective, the Comanche would probably be OP. Now with that said, do I recommend the purchase of the RAH-66 Comanche? For $49.99 USD for the pack? Hell no. But I would say that to all helicopters unless it was some invulnerable vehicle that earns millions of RP and SL per match. Still, if on sale, I do give the Comanche my recommendation for purchase. This is only because of how niche helicopters are in War Thunder, as they are essentially only played as a specialty vehicle in both ground RP and sim, and occasionally in helicopter battles if that's your thing. They're not even in every match vehicle that you can use in ground battles, because if you don't do well enough, you won't have enough spawn points to use them unless you use its weakest loadout. Regardless, the Comanche is, without stealth, a decent helicopter, but nothing special. With its stealth being properly used, however, it ends up being fantastic. Sure, you could argue that only having 6 Hellfire Bs is not a good loadout, but that would be much more so true on non-stealth helicopters. While the Comanche can and will almost inevitably be seen by the enemy, especially if you're near the action, are where the enemy expects helicopters to be, or simply you're just facing really powerful SPAA, it'll likely take more time than with almost any other helicopter, which is tremendously important. What's the point of having over a dozen ATGMs when you can only use 2, whereas the Comanche can use 4, 5, or even 6 out of the 6 that it carries, before going back to reload because you haven't been shot down yet. It's really that simple, and because of that, I give it my Tankenstein seal of approval and my recommendation for purchase when it's on sale. The Comanche plays best when being played carefully, as stealth only ensures that it typically takes longer for the enemy to notice you. It won't make you invisible at all, but will rather just delay the likely inevitability of being caught. In that delay, however, is where the Comanche works wonders, and can be surgical where other helicopters would otherwise be shot drop down out of the sky. Now with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know what you guys think about this review and of the Comanche in the comments below. I'm very interested to hear your opinions on it, and especially if you've played it already, what your take is on it and how your time has been with this vehicle. Also, if you don't mind, please consider subscribing, as that helps me out tremendously, especially if you like this type of content. But again, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.